Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're doing something really fascinating. We are going to impartially map out a pretty mind-bending esoteric cosmology. We're looking at the cosmic biography of a space being known as Metatron, and we're pulling this directly from a highly specific set of seminar texts. Whether you're already familiar with these theological concepts or you're literally hearing about them for the very first time, it's an incredible chance to see just how intricate and expansive modern spiritual frameworks can get. So we're going to trace a journey that spans from the distant stars down to ancient human history, and eventually right up to the modern day. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's kick this off with a massive question that this framework poses. In the texts we're diving into today, there is a central figure named El Cantare, who is presented as an earth god with this huge, grand mission. But here's the catch. According to this cosmology, El Cantare isn't working entirely solo. So the big question is, who exactly is the mysterious cosmic entity working behind the scenes, right there in the shadows, providing literal and spiritual backup to El Cantare?
Well, to find that answer, we have to look directly at our source material. This is a seminar text titled Seminar on the Mission of Lord God El Cantare and Earth's Future. Now, this text is incredibly unique. Why? Because it details messages that were purportedly received from extraterrestrial entities. But, we aren't just talking about any space beings here. The text claims these are entities holding actual Messiah qualifications. Basically, cosmic saviors who are deeply invested in Earth's spiritual evolution. And one of the loudest, most prominent voices in this entire text, that belongs to Metatron. Now, before we can really wrap our heads around Metatron, we need to understand this concept called amor. The text defines amor as the space soul of Jesus Christ. And here's where it gets wild. Metatron is described not just as a buddy or an ally, but as a literal part of this cosmic consciousness of Jesus. This creates this immediate, profound link between the extraterrestrial figure of Metatron and, well, one of the most recognized religious figures in all of human history. It totally bridges the gap between traditional, earthly religion and this much broader galactic theology.
Section 1. Who is Metatron? Origins in the cosmos.
So the source text actually gives Metatron a very specific cosmic address. He's identified as a space being originating from the Include star, which is located way out in the constellation of Sagittarius. The text is also really quick to emphasize that he holds what's called a Messiah qualification. Basically, this means that out there in the vastness of the universe, Metatron operates as this highly evolved spiritual leader. He possesses the immense authority and power to guide and literally save planetary civilizations. Section 2, Earth's History, Mesopotamia and Cosmic Battles.
But Metatron's influence definitely isn't restricted to deep space. Just consider his timeline right here on Earth. We start way out in Sagittarius, sure, but then the text notes a massive event. About 6,500 years ago, Metatron actually underwent a physical incarnation on Earth, specifically right in the Mesopotamia region. I mean, this wasn't just a quick flyby. It was a direct insertion into the very cradle of human civilization. Then, the timeline stretches all the way to the present day, where his role shifts back to that supportive, behind-the-scenes backup for El Cantare. But what exactly was he doing back in ancient Mesopotamia?
Well, during that ancient era, Earth was apparently the stage for these massive, catastrophic conflicts. The source material states that Metatron stepped in as one of the gods of light, a faction completely dedicated to establishing peace on Earth. When these tremendous battles broke out, sparked by opposing cosmic forces, Metatron stood as a symbol of cosmic power. He used his advanced spiritual authority to help quell the chaos and restore some much-needed balance to the planet. Section 3. Cosmic Support, Backing Up Jesus and El Cantare. The text also details some absolutely fascinating interventions in human faith. Because Metatron is part of that Amor soul group we talked about earlier, he's said to have provided direct spiritual backup during Jesus Christ's time on Earth. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't just backup. The text even proposes a pretty striking reinterpretation of a famous biblical event. It suggests that the Star of Bethlehem, the star that guided the wise men, was actually a space intervention, a UFO. But there was a catch. The text notes a major limitation. During Jesus' time, the full scope of the universe, what the text calls space law, just couldn't be taught. Humanity simply wasn't ready for it yet. I mean, think about it. If Jesus was born in a humble stable, trying to explain the complexities of extraterrestrial beings and galactic laws would have been completely overwhelming. And because he has this incredible long-term perspective on human development, Metatron is also documented in the text issuing a pretty stark warning, one drawn straight from ancient history. He points specifically to the legendary lost continents of Mu and Atlantis. Now, according to this framework, these civilizations didn't just disappear because of some random natural disaster. No, their fall was deeply tied to a spiritual failing. He basically frames this as a clash between two totally different mindsets. On one side, we have true faith, which is a genuine spiritual connection and a real understanding of our place in the cosmos. But on the other side, we have what Metatron calls machine faith or reason faith. The text argues that ancient, super advanced civilizations like Atlantis actually fell because their incredible technological prowess caused a fatal drop in their spiritual beliefs. They began to worship the machine and their own scientific mastery, and they completely lost their connection to the divine. Metatron warns that when a society reaches the point where they can confidently say, hey, we can travel to space, but they completely lose their faith in the process, they're just inviting their own ruin. It's a cyclical warning, and man, it hits pretty hard for our modern tech-driven age. Section 4, The Creator's Thoughts, a Universal Mission. So, this brings us to the real core of the seminar text. What's happening right now? Currently, Metatron is utilizing his immense cosmic power to back up and support El Cantare. The whole goal here is to allow El Cantare to fully demonstrate his authority and power as an Earth god. Metatron is basically acting as the ultimate cosmic support system, making sure that the earthly mission isn't derailed by those opposing forces we discussed earlier. And that leads us to perhaps the most expansive idea in the entire text. I want you to hear this quote directly from page 324 of the seminar notes. Metatron states, El Cantare is the creator, but actually trying to spread God's thoughts to the whole universe. This right here reveals the true macro goal of this whole cosmology. Metatron isn't just trying to save Earth. He aims to help the Creator distribute his philosophy, his teachings, and his thoughts far beyond our atmosphere, out into the entire universe. Earth, in this view, isn't the finish line. It's merely the starting point for a galactic spiritual awakening. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. We've explored this highly complex framework today, where a being from the Sagittarius constellation supposedly intervened in ancient Mesopotamia, backed up Jesus Christ, and is now actively working to spread a cosmic philosophy. Within the context of this theology, it really forces a massive paradigm shift. Think about it. If space beings with Messiah qualifications have been intervening for over 6,500 years, well, how much of our human history, our religions, our ancient myths, our biggest societal leaps, was actually guided by the stars? It's absolutely a fascinating lens through which to view the story of humanity. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive.